Hi, this is God Elitom El-Amin, Breatharian. And here I am in wonderful India at this beautiful park looking at the Arabian Sea. Early in the morning, beautiful day. And what we're talking about today is we're on part 6 of 6 of Beyond Meats, and we're talking about the Kabbalah. And the Kabbalah is a teaching that talks about or relates itself to the tree of life that we heard in all ancient religions. But it kind of breaks it down more, because what it's saying is that man is actually a microcosm of the macrocosm. I remember a theoretical physicist, I believe Neil deGrasse Tyson, said the guts in the sun is inside of us. That should have you in awe just to think about that. So now you got the advent of the breatharian knowledge, where it's actually taking that into account. Really looking at what the ancients were saying, because now we live in an age that the sciences, they call things pseudoscience or pseudoscience, if that's the word. And but actually they're looking at it to see what they were saying. And there's a lot of things that's coming to the forefront now, even dealing with fasting, doing without food. It used to be, when people bring that up, it dealt with just spirituality, but now it has somewhat medical significance to it. So now as we get into Beyond Meats, and that's what we're talking about, leaving meat alone at least on the breatharian journey. Now I could easily give you a conversation dealing with morals, dealing with this and that, but we're not going there, because this is a serious high vibrational channel. So we're just coming with it for the true spiritual seekers. Now, you can do what you want to do in life. We already proved that. And eating meat is one of them. And life is an experience. We're having different modes of experience. And even in the sciences now, they're even bringing up the term, the exploration of consciousness. It ain't about coining what it is. But when we look at the expansion of, we're more than just in our heads. There's an energy field around us that could be measured now. And even what the spiritual sciences talk about, you can actually master your physical environment. Some people do live a more peaceful existence than others. And if you talk to them, you can see why. And this ain't got nothing to do with the materialism that you own. Because I do live a life where I'm in and out of different levels of consciousness. One minute I could be sitting in a mansion, and the next minute I could be sitting on the ground somewhere. You understand? I'm in and out because I know how to move energies. That's just me. That's why I'm a God. Which is just a term. You're a God too, as we get into this. So when you look at most of the ancient statues and stuff, showing serpents coming up a staff, but the main thing, they always show the middle of the head, there'll be some serpents meeting, or they be right above the head. And some people say that represents the third eye and stuff like that. Okay, we could say that. But it's more than that, because we're talking about wholeness. What we're talking about, that's a symbol saying that this particular person, and there's statues of both males and females, who took on a challenge of life, because we are a system of energy. Any physicist could tell you that on the planet. We're a system of energy held together by thought. And these people took on a challenge in life to take the energies that they're working with within their makeup and bring it to the highest level possible. Do you get that? They just didn't do anything anymore. They became conscious on their behavior. They became conscious in their lifestyle and brought forth and manifested the highest vibrational energies possible. And this is what the text is talking about the spiritual sciences. All human beings have access to these energies, but you must become aware of it on how to use it. It's just like everybody's breathing. Everybody's breathing the air. But why is some people, they learned how to receive the energy from the air through proper breath work, proper habits of what they're putting in their body, set times and type cycles. That's what I'm talking about. This is a thinking man's game. So that's why they said in the Hermetica, everything is mental, everything is mind. And again, even the scientists today, a lot of them are saying the exploration of consciousness. Oh, this is good now. And so when you deal with now let me bring this up. I teach the Breatharian knowledge, and those of you who don't know what it is, it's the ancient word for fasting, which means anidia. Anidia is the ancient word for fasting, and it means to eat very little or none at all. When I mean very little, I mean very little. You get to the point where you can master hunger, and you can eat out of pleasure every once in a while and all this stuff like that. But you must cultivate yourself to that level. That's why we're going back to these people that had that serpent on their head. That's a person who achieved the great achievement of consistently working on their energies to get subtle and subtle to the highest degree possible in this realm. Like when we look at the sun, where it's located, that is a massive energy that's affecting all of us. I'm sitting up under it right now, and as I'm recording this on this cell phone, if it get too hot, would die out before I would. So what that is telling us is that our bodies is one of the greatest science and technologies that you have access to. And it's getting more than just vitamin D, just because somebody in a white coat didn't tell you it yet. But again, when you deal with the spiritual sciences, this sun is affecting everybody. But some people have the knowledge of how to really take advantage of this energy. And without a shadow of a doubt, I know if you detoxify your body a lot more, you'll be able to take more of the sun. Absolutely. It'll feel different on you. This is what we're talking about. It's a feeling state that we're talking about. Now, listen to what I'm about to say. You need to eat. Being in a physical body, you need to eat. Now, you might say, Elitom, you said we don't need to eat. Well, that's a human potential. But even on that level, you still need to eat. You are dealing with energy. You're living in a system of it. It's circulating in different places. And just like when you're meditating, when I say meditation, a foundation, you have an energy system within your body, and all energy runs a circuit. Just like the circuit in your house, just like the energy circuit in your car. Anything that we're dealing with electricity, it runs a circuit in order for it to function. When that circuit is broken, or if it's weak, you'll see the results of it. And we're dealing with the same thing, dealing with the physical body. I hope this is making sense. So you're dealing with a biomachine or a biocomputer that you are learning how to operate at a higher level. Oh, man. Now listen at this going into the Kabbalah, and listen at that name. It's usually in Judaism, but it has its roots also in the Kemet, or Egypt. And listen at those beginning words, the Ka and the Ba, the spell Kabbalah. And the Ka represents spirit, and the Ba is the personality. But let's bring it more about down to earth. It's your physical body. You need a physical body to operate in this realm. And going back to what I said, everybody needs to eat. Everybody needs energy to function. Your body don't care where it gets it from. That's why you gotta cultivate it to go more to the subtle forces and what? Loosen up on being dense. That's where that word enlightenment comes. You're going lighter. Not fast, too fast. Some people go too fast and you're going to run into food disorders and anorexia. We're not talking about that now. This is a great achievement and you're not giving yourself a pace, a time, people still calling me, talk about, what do I do after a 21-day process? And I tell them I don't teach no 21 days. This knowledge is coming from ancient cultures, and a master is called a master not because of 21 days. He's been living that lifestyle for a while. You understand? And got achievements to go along with it to become a master. So if you're coming on this journey, you might as well get ready for a path or a road to walk on. This is what we're talking about. And you'll see the results along the way when you be a straight up true practitioner. Now the Kabbalah, the tree of life, where you see it written down, and we're going into the Kabbalah here. And we're going to the top 3 branches on it. Because the rest of them have got names for the branches, and those are attributes of the human being that they say on portals you can open up in consciousness. But you must be on this path to start recognizing that. It's sort of like if you start practicing the energy of kindness. Kindness will start taking back to you. It's a cultivation process. Because we're going for controlling the conversation that's going on in your head. Did I say that? Everybody has the conversation going on in their head. But now you, instead of just letting the conversation talk you into this and talking you into that, you're going to have to be the motivator to re-talk to yourself, to give yourself a new habit, to give yourself a new belief, to give yourself a new path to bring out a different outcome. Because if we got electromagnetic fields, listen at that word, magnetism. That's a word for attraction. You are attracting things to you. Now, there's 2 gifts that's given to us. Now, your body, when I said you need to eat, and sometimes people will point to the animal kingdom, where you are an animal. No ifs, buts, or ands about it. Your body shows up in nature just like any other animal. You see those dogs barking? They eat, they sleep, they use the bathroom, and they have sex. What's so different than a human being? They got parents and everything else. You do too. So what's the difference? But there's 2 gifts that the spiritual sages was trying to talk about, and they was talking about the mind that we have and also speech. Those are the 2 gifts that we have to work with when we can cultivate ourselves differently than the consciousness of other beings. Oh man, this is getting good. Follow me now. Let's take a walk over here. So we want to raise our vibration because even Nikola Tesla said if you want to know the universe, you need to learn frequency, vibration, and energy. And you are all of that. You have access to it. And just by me talking to you, I'm giving you a frequency or a vibration. And the more your head can wrap around it, and you start understanding what I'm saying for those who do, you start changing. I get calls on that all the time. Now listen at this, what Nietzsche, I believe, said, the philosopher. Now I'm going to paraphrase what he said so you can be clear. Because sometimes people call me about what some nutritionist said or somebody else who was famous and they're no longer with us on what they were saying and stuff like this. And I respect the spiritual teachers in the past and the nutritionists in the past and stuff like this who came with different things. But there's a saying that Nietzsche said was, very seldom do a teacher actually practices what they teach. Uh-oh, did I say that? Yep. And if you was teaching a class of 20 people, this is what he said, paraphrasing. I would rather teach the class of 20 people than to be one of the students that have to take instructions from me. That's what he said. That's powerful, ain't it? And as I travel around the world, I've been through many communities, vegan, live and raw foods, talking that mess. But as I started talking this user-friendly message, they started coming out with different things that the human being that they do. Like one guy, you only need to eat live and raw foods, not to go back. But as he saw how I was coming, he admitted after some days after they fought me, well, I did order a pizza a couple days ago. Now we're saying this so you can be clear and stop beating up on yourself and beating up on others. We still have that past habits we're dealing with. That's why this takes time. And stop beating up on others. And stop expecting somebody else to have to prove it for you. And you got the laboratory right in front of you. You should be able to catch right now what you put in your body affects the way you think, affects the way you feel, your emotions, all of this good stuff. And you can reverse it. Yeah, you can. Again, the great achievement, where that cobra get at the top of the head, that is a male or a female who went into it to take on life head on. That's really taking on life. Now, I know we got this measure of success of houses, cars, and money, bank accounts, you know, these external things. But the spiritual path, I want you to be clear, is totally different than that. Yes, on the beginning stages, there's a saying that says, thank you for not making me so rich, where I use your name in vain, or I forget about you. And the poor person will say, thank you for not making me so poor, where I use your name in vain, in other words, where I got to prostitute myself or cause some types of crimes in society and stuff like that. Because it is a shame where a person is born into poverty. That's a whole nother ball game, but we'll talk about that. So when you're on a spiritual journey, I know people try to take these external things and try to blend it in what the spiritual path is about, but I want us to be clear. It's way beyond that. There's tiers and degrees. And when we talk about that person with that cobra on their head, they achieve the highest degree that you can possibly get. You understand? They were serious. And what did that mean? They're not going to see the grave. That's what the scriptures is talking. And they got the power to bring up other abilities. See, food freedom is a lower city power. A lower city power. That's just the gateway of you doing mind mastery. See, all diet changes is not really for the body. It's to discipline the mind. That's why all these gurus who did come out saying this diet is it, this diet is it, and all this other stuff, they ain't with us no more. So going back to them, there's no put down. Our hats is off that they got us that information. But it's up to you to be a seeker. Find out what degree or level you're at. Grab the information you could work with in that level of knowledge and go from there. Don't go too far ahead of yourself, because victories mean a lot as we continue on this path. You lose right away, and then you're going to get discouraged and all this other stuff. That's a whole nother ball game. Now, beyond meats, I'm not here to talk the morals to you, but listen at what the Kabbalah is saying. At the top 3 branches, spheres on the Kabbalah, dealing with the human body, that's dealing with the head up there. The crown is at the top. But on the right-hand side, it got mercy. And then on the left-hand side, it got compassion. Listen at that. One is wisdom, the other one is understanding. Now listen at this now. Now knowledge is in the middle, but you will never see a chart of the Kabbalah where they wrote down knowledge. Why is that? Because there's all types of knowledge out here in the world. There's a scripture that says, my people are being destroyed for lack of knowledge. But it's not talking about any kind of knowledge. People are smart. I mean, there's knowledge in becoming this. There's knowledge in fixing a car. There's knowledge in this. But the Kabbalah and the Tree of Life is not talking about that type of knowledge. Let us be clear. It's talking about a knowledge of you raising the frequencies in your body, the vibrations to the highest level possible, so that you can connect with the more subtle forces where your physical body will be strong enough to take on more of that electricity. I'm breaking it down to earth to you. Because if the electricity is too powerful for the body to take on, it's not going to come inside whatsoever, or you'll get burnt out and all this other stuff and don't know what's taking place. That's why it's a cultivation where you're taking your time and you're growing into this. Every year I'm getting stronger and stronger being on this path. That shows the cultivation path. So listen at this: compassion on one side and mercy on another. Now, a lot of people talk about love all the time, but they don't got love, the word love, on a tree of life. Why is that? Because love is the most misused word in the human language. People, I love you, until things don't go their way, then all of a sudden they cut it off like a water fountain. Yeah, it happened to me many times. I'll tell you about it. Oh, Elitom, you're just bitter. That's just the way it is. A lot of people went through that. Or people will say, well, I love them, but, and they're still doing something to you dirty. So it can get used the wrong way. That's why they didn't put that on a Kabbalah tree of life. Because humans can even say they love something that we call wrong, you understand? And but that's the way it is. So they ain't even put it there. They use the word compassion. Now, compassion is close, but it's a different language altogether. It has different meaning. Because that's why people who do become vegan and meat-free, they call it the compassionate diet. They don't call it the love diet. Because compassion could be measured more so than that word love. It could get misused so bad. But compassion is an act that the practitioner is doing when you're showing compassion to something. You're showing kindness to something. And you usually can do that to somebody or something when you can relate to their condition. That's why a lot of the vegan movement, they're coming out showing you what's taking place in the food industry, how the animals are suffering, looking at their condition so you can kind of relate to it. I don't want no other being to do that to me if I was in that predicament. Now let's go back to rights. There is no rights. I remember George Carlin, the comedian, said that you have no rights. The people at the top do not, some of them don't even know you exist. All of them don't know you exist. So they really don't care about your rights like that. They care about their interests. The rights that we have, the people brought that forth when enough was enough. We got a thing dealing with minority rights. We got a thing dealing with human rights. We got a thing dealing with woman rights. We got a thing dealing with children's rights. We brought that about when enough was enough because there was a thing that those titles wasn't out there to give things rights, and people just did just what they wanted to do. Now, when you deal with animal rights, that came out about 100 years ago. And you remember that story of Black Beauty? That story was written because a woman witnessed a man, his horse was so exhausted, he wanted his horse to keep working, and he took a stick and beat his horse to death. And he said, this is my horse, I can do what I want to do with it. So therefore, she started that beautiful story of Black Beauty, and that started out at least saying, wait a minute, we need some animal rights to take place. However, going back to what we're saying, we need to eat, because we're just animals just like any other thing. Animals out there tell you they need to eat too. And most animals out there will eat you. These crows out here, you see them, they'll eat you if you was laying there. They wouldn't even think twice about it. I know they're eating all types of stuff out here, these pigeons and everything else. But again, going back to the Hermetica, you got two things that other animals don't have. In order to make this great accomplishment, you have a mind and you have speech. Now let's go to this speech. What we talking about? We're not talking about the verbal speech. We're talking about the inward speech that's in you. That's why you got to start controlling the voice that's going off in your head. That's the speech. And see, nature, the universal laws, they're reading not what comes out of your mouth. That's what we do as people. It's reading the speech, the frequency, the light that's being broadcasted off your body, and that's what's creating your reality. So when you deal with the Western pandemic of the preventable diseases, that means they did not have to happen. That was due to a lifestyle, but that's due to the universal laws, the speech that's coming out of you. One minute you're saying, I love animals, to the next minute you're eating them. Nature didn't understand what language you were speaking when you said, I love animals. It did not see no compassion. Now, compassion, you can show somebody compassion when you can relate to them. Say if you was a man that was stranded or a woman stranded one day with no money, you know how it feels, and then you see somebody in that predicament, you can relate to it and you could go help them. And we talk about that all the time. So when you're looking at the animal situation, you are doing an act of compassion. And that's going to change the frequency that's coming off of your body. Now, I know you might say, well, I know vegans and they sick and they did that. This even goes beyond health. We're talking about something that's totally different here now, because you're activating that tree of life and it will open up that portal. You understand? of a compassion. You are at least giving another being a chance to live out their life. The most meats is eaten is what? Chicken, cows, and pigs. And I played with pigs before. They act just like dogs. They can learn their name. And if you put them out there right now, they'll be probably playing in the water and all this other good stuff. Chickens the same way. They own personalities. And they can live many, many years. But right now, you got this whole group of different personalities that's basically living for 45 days, and that's it. That's a strong frequency that's coming off of you when you're taking part in that. A strong frequency. And in nature, or the higher forces, the subtle forces, the top don't even see you. You had to bring forth those rights so it can see you. I know we're saying, oh, God love us. Right, this is grateful to be living this life. But you want to go to the highest frequency possible, which is your birthright, if we was to say that. Now, I did not say the rights don't exist. Well, there's some things that you can make exist or you can manifest and bring forth. That's what that great achievement is talking about. You was given a mind. That's why they said in the Hermetica, everything's mental. Everything's conscious. And it's how you mix with these consciousness. And you're part of it. You're one with it. There's even the sciences that's going there now. It's proven that we are one with everything. So again, you want to what? Bring a better frequency into your matrix so you can be what? Have a better overall life. And like I said, the external things ain't got nothing to do with this. I'm in and out of different people's social lifestyles, and I see people with money and without money. You're either going to be miserable or you're going to be happy. It's our consciousness of how you're using these energies. Oh man, this is good. Now listen at this now. Now the other side we don't hardly talk about, and it's the mercy seat. And when you read the scriptures, they had the mercy seat dealing with the what? The tabernacle, and they had the mercy seat in the middle. Now notice that they didn't have the love seat. We always want to get this love. No, they had the mercy seat in the middle. Why is that? And that's where God's supposed to come down at, or the higher frequency vibration. He's coming to the mercy seat. And notice when a person is in a courtroom and they did some type of hideous crime, and people that don't even know you about to judge you. And if you got any last words, have mercy on me. And the reason why you use that term mercy is because those people, even though they're judging you, weren't there. They didn't know how you feel. Even though you told them the best you can on what went down, there's a whole series of things, but you're asking them to have mercy on you because they cannot relate to what you just did. This isn't compassion now because you just did something that they didn't do. Absolutely. Or that person, that individual. You know, they probably murdered 3 people or whatever, and he's asking for mercy on his life at least. Now this is serious because as they said, God is coming down in a tabernacle, which is our body, and he sits in the mercy seat. The higher frequencies cannot relate to you. I know we like to say, oh yeah, dude, the sun don't even know you exist. It's just shining on everything. It don't know. You got to raise your frequency so it can know you exist. The higher frequencies, all they see is light. They don't see this dense physical matter that we're sitting up here playing with. So no, it don't know you like that. If it knew you, it'll be blessing you beyond measure, and you'll be living a life, not dying and everything else, and everything will go good. But every time I see somebody, they crying, complaining, well, everybody has a rainy day. Who taught you that? It's because you ain't got the cobra lifted up. You're not understanding how to work with your personal energy. And some things, when you start exercising mercy, now this is when you start exercising mercy. Now for number 1 on the Kabbalah, it's showing you a God being, the tree of life. So first you start exercising compassion. So when you start looking at the animal situation, yeah, there is a moral thing that's going to kick in after a while. I'm here in India and I just seen a wagon, a cage, where chickens was in different places of it, packed in, and they were screaming. They looked miserable. They couldn't breathe. They grabbing them by their feet. And even the workers who was working that job, none of them was smiling. And it's a nice, beautiful, sunny day. I mean, it was just terrible. That's a frequency again. Everybody's catering into. And those beings again, they was once on this planet living a whole nother life on what humanity is doing to them right now on a mass scale all over the planet. So you start exercising compassion so that frequency can come off of your body, because that's all the higher frequencies see. You can say what you want to say out of your mouth, but it sees that other frequency, and you are now exercising compassion. And like I said, not just for eating what you put in your body, you're eating even on your actions in life. Treating people nice, treating people with compassion. That's a nourishment where the higher forces on the tree of life, you start activating it. Now listen at this. Everybody's hypocritical. Hypocrite means putting on a mask. I know people who say, I act the same way around everybody and la, la, la. No, you don't. You treat your mother different. Family get-togethers different. You act differently around the friends you grow up with. Hey, brother. You act differently in a new workplace and all that stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. You understand? Because, again, we work with energies. We could change our thought process anytime to conform or adapt to a new situation. So I'm bringing this up on this idea that first you must start. You want to get in the camera too. I'll be right back. Yeah, I'll be right back. So first you at least probably have to start acting with compassion, because you've been probably eating meats all your life and it tastes good. You've been at the family get-togethers, and again, I'm not beating you over the head. You could do what you want to do in life. You see how I said it tastes good? Right, some people will say that without a shadow of a doubt. I once went to I was teaching a breatharian message at the vegan convention, and when I said that it broke it down to earth, there's nobody to challenge me. You know, we like to say, you know, when we get to different places, but you are addicted just like any other drug, and just like a drug addict or an alcoholic or whoever is addicted to something, you might as well go ahead and admit it. That's where you start getting healed. So you might have to what? Fake it till you make it, as you say. Start exercising that new habit till it becomes into your system. And this is what I'm talking about on the breatharian journey. When you start leaving something alone over a period of time, your taste buds start changing. And don't even beat up on yourself. I made a vegan one time. You know, his wife was vegan. So, of course, he was vegan. But he did come to the side when he heard I was teaching. He said once a year he'd take himself out for a hamburger. That's what he said. But it was so relieving to get that off his chest. See, everybody got things that they're dealing with. You understand? But once he got off his chest, he went back into the ball game. So just like anything, I'm teaching user-friendly. Lightening up before you get off. And those of you who can get cold turkey and catch this message, do it. So you can what? Activate that compassion frequency. That helps you with life. It really does. Your life will change just by you understanding what just took place. All right. Boy, they loving me out here. Oh, I know. 1 minute. I'm talking right now.
1 second. Close. Camera close. Bro, this is camera close.
Oh, you gotta hit that one more time.
And let's go.
This is halftime. Oh man. This is halftime. Look at this. Voila. Y'all can clap.
Nice jump.
Yeah. I'm gonna do it when I come back. You gotta show me how to do that.
This is roll. Roll.
Halftime.
Roll. This is going. Yeah.
Isn't life wonderful? Look at that energy. We're systems of energy. Look at that. That's awesome, ain't it?
Very nice jump.
We got so many experiences we can have in life. Give me a high five. Now I'll be back later and I'll hook up with y'all. Because right now I got to finish this real quick.
Okay, okay.
All right, good job, y'all.
Very nice jump.
Yeah, y'all awesome.
Friend, you village, you country?
America.
America?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I'll be back through to kick it with y'all. Say hi.
Yo, this is my wife.
All right. He's a good man with all that energy.
It's coming. Bro, this is my wife.
All right, I'll be back.
1 second.
That was halftime.
Bro,
Oh my gosh.
bro.
Hey there. Oh man. I'm raising my frequency and vibration. Now listen at this now. So going back to what you were saying, you start exercising compassion. So there's a thing called fake it till you make it. You know, start getting yourself into that cycle until you become better at it. Perfect practice make perfect. And then pretty soon, it will become more than just you a practice. It will become part of your identity. But that frequency that's coming off your body. Remember when we said that speech? And I know you've been, let me go over that speech again. I know you've been to places where you met people before. They saying they're glad they meet you. They saying all this stuff. The talk is one thing, but then all of a sudden they stop talking to you. You don't know what happened. You don't know what's wrong. And it probably ain't got nothing to do with you. It's just that when they were talking, the words were one thing, but they had other thoughts in their head. So that's why it all goes back to everybody. Start mastering who's talking to you. That's very important. This is what this journey is all about. That's why, again, they showed you that symbology of the highest vibration and was right here in the middle of the head where knowledge is at on the tree of life, the Kabbalah. Knowing. Let's don't even use the word knowledge. You know something now. You know without a shadow of a doubt. So when you're practicing that compassion, and when you know without a shadow of a doubt that's coming off of your frequency, that's a whole nother ball game. Now, I know people will go and say plant, scream to, and this and that. Yes, they do. But you're not there yet. We're talking in degrees. Let's make that plain. We're talking in degrees here. Go with the less dense first. Because you ain't care about nothing before, you understand. Now you're at least picking up some compassion where you're starting where you're at. Because again, you need to eat. Until your energy gets stronger and nature can start supporting you. Now, we're going to bring up that word nature again, too. Now, let's go back to the mercy seat of wisdom. You start practicing wisdom. How do you start? Not the wisdom, the mercy, which is the wisdom. And wisdom is the application of right knowledge. You on the right track. How do you know you're on the right track? It can be measured. And I tell people in the breatharian journey all the time, you should be getting energetically stronger and healthier. That's how you know. Health is wholeness. That's how the energy is running in the body. We got to go there. You'll feel it. It's a feeling state. You know. And you know if you slip up and start dealing with the denser frequencies to how you feel now, you feel the difference. And then pretty soon you'll say, forget that mess. Now I know. So now you come into the level of wisdom. Now, how do you practice mercy? Because remember I said the higher forces, if we want to call it God or whatever, it don't even know you exist, and it don't even know why you behaving like you behaving. It don't realize that. That's why, like people say, God judges. Now, the higher forces ain't judging you. You judging yourself. That's why the rulers in the world, there's a scripture that they say, well, we ain't doing nothing wrong. They don't even see that they're doing any wrong to you. Because you got to give yourself rights. You're a system of energy just like they are. You connected to anything just like they are. They admire you at the time because they sitting up there stuck in all that materialism that's external, and it's what's inside of you create. You can create, when you figure this out, you can create anything you want. Listen at this now. This ain't the same ball game. And you don't even need no external means to do it. You know how they say it takes money to make money? No, it don't. That's a lie. Money makes the world go around. No, it don't. This is a great achievement again. You have electromagnetism. And when you start getting in touch with those higher forces sitting on the mercy seat, this is a whole nother ball game. Now, how do you do mercy? See, when you look at a chicken, Right now, a person to eat chicken, it sure is good. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. The doctor said this, okay, you go in there. Then you got the vegan community giving you the morals and stuff. But you start practicing mercy. When you realize, when I said your strength will get on, your energy will get on, and all of this stuff, you start realizing you are a powerful being. When you realize how powerful you are, you got to know this. People can tell you all day long. You got to know it when you start taking this path. And when you find out how powerful you are, you look at a chicken, of course you're more powerful than the chicken. You and a chicken is never going to have a meaningful conversation in his life. You and a cow or a pig. You're not going to sit back at a cow going to tell you about his mother and how it grew up and stuff. Y'all never going to have no meaningful conversation. You a whole nother creation. So why do you want to eat something like that and put it in your body that's going to make you weaker? You came into your strength. That's not even a debate. People come at me sometimes talk about, well, what about eat this? What about this herb? I'm powerful than that. That's not even a debate. I don't know. Go ask the nutritionist. Go ask somebody who's on that level. You practicing mercy now. You showed that thing mercy because you don't even know how it feels. And you don't care. All you care about is your development. Oh, did I say that? That's why the scriptures say, God says, I love those who love me. Those who seek me early shall find me. He only loves himself. You got to get with it. It ain't getting with you. That's the big unsolved thing. Yeah, be grateful for life, but everybody ain't going to make it through this game. That's why it's called the narrow road. Don't mess it up. I don't care how many cars, houses, what your bank account is. I sat on the mercy seat. I looked at people. Do you need anything, Elitom? Nope, because I'm powerful. You still want to stay here? No, I think I'm going to go sleep on the beach tonight. Powerful. And they admiring you. They wish they could. You're on the mercy seat. And when you see these other beings out here, it's not even, it's like walking over an ant hole. You ain't talking to the ants. You're way powerful. You can step on the ants. So just like these other beings, all that is you're bullying them. You're bullying other beings, creations. Look, that's what's coming off of you. You're doing it just because you think you could get away with it, but you're not. All you're doing is hurting yourself. That's why it always tells you that. When you hurt other beings or hurt other people, you're hurting yourself. That's hard for a person to see that at first, but you are. Because that frequency, that energy that's supposed to come up for compassion and mercy to activate the crown, that will never happen. So you gotta what? Put effort in to start first practicing compassion. I'm not gonna take advantage of that situation, that being. You make mistakes, you ask for forgiveness, I'm sorry, thank you, all this other good stuff. Right, get back on track till you can get a grip on yourself and deal with that voice that's going off in your head. And then when you come into your power, start seeing it. Start seeing that you're creating your life. I created this. And after I get off here, I'm going to go talk to my friends again. I created them. Those are my friends. My new friends. He gave us a good show, didn't he? I created that. That's what's going on inside of me. So then you can start practicing mercy because you're more powerful than they are. That's something, isn't it? You're more powerful. So again, this is going beyond meats. This ain't about beating up on yourself. We didn't talk about no morals. We just talked about your growth and why you should leave it alone. And like I said, there's great promises. See, there's a time that, like some people say, should I believe in God or not? That's irrelevant. But your power, or where you can go with it, that's what you should be concerned about. Let's see how far this can go. Let's see where this ends up. Oh man, I'm so glad I took this journey. So glad of what it's done. All I'm doing is sharing with you when you start coming into your strength. And the thing about it don't end here. Like I said, those beings, where they showed you those statues, that was the highest frequency vibration in this physical realm. So you can even take this body more subtle than what it is, because this is energy. It's listening to your thoughts. It's listening to that voice inside. That's why we got two gifts that's different than other animals. Our mind and our speech. And our speech ain't dealing with this. It's dealing with the frequency that's coming off you. So when you change the frequency that's in you, watch this external stuff change. And I don't care how it looks. There ain't nothing can stop you for your growing. Because the universe is user-friendly. Seek and you shall find. But you got to behave now. You got to master that voice that's inside of your head. And it talks to everybody. Nobody gets away. So again, this is Elitom El-Amin. I hope you got a lot out of this. Peace and blessings. And have the best day ever. Have the best life ever. Talk to you soon.